And
I am joking, there's just water in there. Anyways, hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, hi. As you can see by the title, in today's video I will be talking about my experience transferring from an HBCU to a PWI. Now if you clicked on this video not knowing what those acronyms mean, HBCU stands for Historically Black College or University, and PWI stands for Predominantly White Institution. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into this video. So I'm going to give a little backstory as to why I transferred in the first place. I'm going to try to not make this 5 minutes long because I know some of you really do not care. But anyways, I'm about to be a junior in college. I did my freshman year at Texas Southern University, which is an HBCU, and I now go to Texas State University, which is a PWI. So let's just make this quick. I committed to TSU my senior year of high school to play volleyball. First semester, kind of crappy. I got a little PT. If I did get PT, quite honestly, I did not play good. Second semester, a little bit better. I switched positions, redeemed myself. I know I did. My stats said so. But anyways,
it's above me now.
May comes around, end of the year meetings, and coach says she has budget cuts me from the team. It's May, you know anything about sports, rosters are full. If they're not full, you may get a spot, but it's gonna be really hard to get scholarship money. So coaches are reaching out while I'm in the transfer portal saying, oh, we're interested, but we don't have any money for you. We're interested, see if you can get academic money. So after a few weeks, I have to make a decision quick. Like time is running out for both volleyball with school and just regular school. So I was like, okay, maybe this is a sign, blessing in disguise. I just need to stop playing volleyball. So I quit volleyball and I just decided to go to school. I chose Texas State because I've always wanted to go to a big school. Every other school that I was interested in that was big was out of state, and that tuition was that high for what? So I was like, no. So I chose Texas State. I really love the campus. I will give you guys a few more reasons. All of my friends left. I made most of my friends through the volleyball team. And by the end of the year, by May, they'd either left, quit, or got cut. So I didn't have any friends left except for one of my best friends, Jada. Hey girl, if you're watching this. She's still there, but what was I supposed to do while she was playing volleyball? Make new friends?
If God don't do it, it just won't get done. It's gonna take a miracle from God.
It's not my specialty.
So that was another reason all of my friends had left. And the last reason, at the time, I was just far too bitter, far too upset. You know, for someone to see me on campus and be like, hey, how's volleyball going? Or for me to have to think about my teammates, my former teammates, or hear them talk about games or tournaments and just stuff like that. Like at the time, I couldn't mentally handle dealing with that. I was just still too far upset about what had happened and how the situation had gone down. So at that point, I was just like, I want to go to a new place, fresh start. No one really knows me. And that is how I ended up at Texas State. Okay, so now that long backstory is done, I'm now going to go over different parts of being at an HBCU and different parts of being at a PWI. I'm going to touch on administration, the financials, the actual school part, and then the social. I will probably make this a 2-part video so you guys are not sitting here watching me for 3 hours. So let's get into it now. So first, administration. Administration at an HBCU it's unacceptable. I'm trying to make this video very transparent. It's an issue. I don't know why everyone has an attitude. What do you have an attitude for? Like, that is how I felt being with administration. This is like advisors, financial aid, scholarships, transcripts, all that, like dealing with the people that handle that stuff. And it just did not make any sense. And I'm making this a generalization because my dad went to 2 HBCUs, and I have a lot of friends that go to HBCUs right now, and they've all said the same thing. Like, the overall rating was like a 6.5, but there were certain departments that were way worse than others. I don't have very many good things to say about that. When I used to call people to get help from TSU, it's like they play hot potato because nobody really wants to deal with you. Nobody wants to talk to you. So one time I called them. I got transferred 5 times. I get to the 5th person. He tries to transfer me back to somebody that already transferred me. I digress. It's just customer service is like a foreign term to a lot of people that work in administration at HBCUs. It's just the truth. I understand things come up. I understand that people have bad days. I understand that life happens. Every day, you have an attitude every day? No, I'm sorry, no. I wanted to tell y'all this story because when I was playing volleyball there, We got there before everybody on campus, like all the sports got there before the other students. So our coach was like, you guys need to go get your IDs made. And so the upperclassman was like, okay, well, we need to choose a day where the lady's like good, you know, like she's not tripping. And I was like, you have to pick a day for this lady to not have an attitude? What? However, with the administration at Texas State, I've yet to deal with an unprofessional employee. Obviously, I cannot speak for everyone, but I can confidently say that it is better than what I experienced at Texas Southern. I don't have any complaints. My advisor is like painfully nice, like kind of like, okay. Like she's always in a good mood. People are really eager to help me. And yeah, I don't really have many complaints about the administration at Texas State. Everyone's super helpful. Other than the fact that our president is making us return to school on August 24th during the pandemic with 35,000 kids. But other than that, it's great. Okay, so administration is done with. I think I hit on everything. If I didn't, I'll just insert myself talking about it some more. So now we're gonna touch on financials. HBCUs typically lack the resources that a lot of PWIs have, and it's not because of government funding or anything like that. Both schools get the same amount of government funding, like in proportions to how many kids that they have. It's all from alumni favors and donations, and HBCUs typically do not get as many donations or alumni favors as PWIs do. That's just the truth. My dad was talking to me about this. He was saying people remember their undergrad experience, which is absolutely true. If you remember waiting in long lines or dealing with attitudes or having to go through all this stuff just to get one thing done, and you feel like that was not beneficial to you, who donates to something that they felt was not beneficial for them? Nobody. But yes, I did just want to point out that HBCUs, a lot of the time, this is not all HBCUs because some HBCUs have beautiful campuses, lots of new stuff. TSU is just not one of them. It's very underfunded, and that's just the truth. There's not a lot of alumni favors, not a lot of money goes into things. They did just get a new library, which is really, really nice. But overall, the campus is pretty old. So like I was saying, at Texas State's campus is a lot nicer. It looks a lot newer, and I know that comes from alumni favors. I mean, look at UT, Baylor, A&M. I mean, all these huge PWIs, the alumni, they're like ride or die, okay? Like they give back. And so that's why you see them having nicer things, more expensive things, having these multi-million-dollar new stadiums. TSU's football stadium is, that's all I'm gonna say. I did want to hit on tuition. For tuition, they're about the same. I typed it out. TSU's tuition for in-state students is $9,173, and their out-of-state tuition is $21,623, and that's as of the 2018-2019 school year. For Texas State, the in-state tuition is $10,280, and the out-of-state tuition is $21,900, and again, that's for the 2018-2019 school year. So as far as tuition, they're pretty equal. If you were interested in either one of them, I'm just letting you know that the tuition is pretty similar. Okay, that was everything for financial that I had typed out. There really wasn't much. I just needed to stress the part that the reason some HBCUs look so underfunded is because alumni do not donate in the way that PWI's alumni do. So now we're going to hit on school itself. I don't want y'all to think I'm just down in HBCUs this whole video. Y'all about to see them come up. So for school at HBCUs, class sizes are much smaller. With class sizes being a lot smaller, that makes attendance a little bit more important. Compared to 400 kids in a class at PWI and 40 kids at an HBCU, the teacher will notice when you're consistently not there.
So don't even try it.
98% of my professors knew my name, and I'm not talking about just saw me walking and was like, oh, I kind of recognize her face. No, it was like walking, hey Autumn, oh hi Professor such and such, like, which makes it a lot more personal. And once you get to college, you'll learn to appreciate that if you do go to a smaller school. Oh, I also wanted to say that in all my classes, all of my professors did all the work. I rarely had TAs. If I did have TAs, it was only on exam days. A TA is a teacher's assistant. This is something I need to touch on. Classes are still hard. Do not underestimate an HBCU. Do not underestimate an HBCU.
Don't do it.
A lot of people think, oh, if I go to an HBCU, it won't be as hard. It'll be more lenient. I don't know why people think that. But I've seen it firsthand in classrooms. Like people will be like, oh, like, he'll help me out. No. Do not go in thinking that you can submit work late. Do not go in thinking that there will be some kind of leniency. Some teachers are lenient and some teachers are really hard, and it's the exact same thing at PWIs. I don't know why people think that that just changes depending on the university. I just want to make it known that I had to fight for B's at TSU. I had to fight for C's at TSU, okay? My dad likes to say 2 + 2 = 4 everywhere. So whether you get, a degree at TSU or a degree at Harvard, what do y'all both have? A degree, and y'all both had to go through classes, and it's hard no matter where you go. It's college. And this is HBCUs in general. The campus is much smaller, which means not as much walking. I know that does not seem serious. It means not as much walking. That is such a big deal. When you're rushing to class at TSU, from end to end, it was 12 minutes, maybe 15 if you were like really walking slow. At TSU, there was one shuttle that traveled around campus, and honestly, people only got on it if they were running late, it was raining, or they were just lazy. Like, there's really no reason to get on the shuttle outside of those 3 reasons. Like, it's not like, oh, class is too far. It's just like, I don't feel like walking that far. That's what the shuttle is for. I will say at HBCUs, there are fewer places to eat on campus. We have quite a few places like surrounding the area and like across the street and stuff, but there's not a lot to eat on campus. While I was there was just a Chick-fil-A and Einstein's. There was this place on the 2nd floor or 3rd floor of the student center. I don't know the name of it, but it was good. And then there was a place in the rec center called Naturals, and that was really good too. But that's really all we had. There wasn't, an excess amount of places that you could choose from. And yeah, I think that's it for school at TSU. I'll insert the numbers or the population of students at TSU, and I'll insert it for Texas State just so y'all have an idea of how different the sizes are. At Texas State, class sizes are huge. This past semester, I finished all of my prereqs. So in these prereqs, you have these really huge classes. So my largest class had like 400 kids. For what? And that's not even big. Like, if you talk to kids from UT and they have prereqs, it'll be like 1,000 kids in that class. The classes are huge, which means that the professor does not know who you are. I still recommend going up and introducing yourself, or sitting near the front, or going to office hours, doing all of that, of course, just so they at least know your face. But it's very rare for the professor to know who you are. It's nothing like an HBCU as far as classes go. Anytime I ever had a small class at Texas State, like a really small class, it's either because it was an 8 a.m., did not sign up for those, or like a class that started at 5 p.m., did not sign up for those. Okay, so that is the only time I had a really small class at Texas State. So if you do go to a really big PWI, but you want smaller classes, I recommend super early or super late classes. With that being said though, with classes being so much bigger, attendance is not as important because the professor is not going to notice when you're not there. Now let me clarify what that means. Teachers will still do TAs, which is a teacher's assistant, which are the people who do a lot of stuff in classes at PWIs. Like, they grade your work, they take attendance. If you need help, their email is on the syllabus as well. Like, if the professor doesn't answer, you need to email the TA. So the TA does all this work, and a lot of professors will do this. Okay, well, if you show up to class, if you have 3 or more absences, when the final comes and you right at that edge, I'm not helping you out. Like that. That's what they do. Or if they're like, if you have 2 or more absences and you get an 87 on the final, I'll bump that up to a 90. That's what they'll do. So it doesn't really matter as far as them noticing that you're not there, but it does matter when it comes down to the end of the semester. So whether you're an HBCU or a PWI, go to class. So I did want to touch on what the living life is like at a large PWI. This is specific to Texas State, okay? This is not how other PWIs run. After your freshman year, the majority of kids move off campus. And I forgot to mention that as far as TSU, so a lot of kids do move off campus, but there's options to stay on campus, and you can sign up for those options and stay on campus. At Texas State, after your freshman year, you enter into like this lottery system type of thing. And if you don't get picked or you don't get chosen for the lottery, off campus, which most kids want to be anyways, but I'm just letting you know that if you are considering Texas State, you need to look for apartments after your freshman year because that's where you'll be living. And that takes me to my next point of PWIs having a very large shuttle system. So with so many kids living off campus and the campus being so large in general, our shuttle system is huge. Each bus has like its own run that it goes through. It took me like 10 minutes to get from my apartment to campus with the shuttle just because of traffic, and there's other buses. So I mean, that is a bit different from an HBCU. Like I said, there's one shuttle and it's because people are lazy. I'm not walking 4 miles to get to campus at Texas State. That's what I would have to do if I didn't want to get on the shuttle. But you can also drive. At TSU, when you drive, there's like garages, and they're so close to campus, you're basically on campus. At Texas State, it's the same thing. You're on campus, but when you now live in apartments, you're signing up for off-campus parking. And off-campus parking is not near most of people's classrooms. So you park in off-campus parking, and then you get on a shuttle to get to your class. So I'm just letting y'all know, at these PWIs, you will need the shuttle. Oh, as far as school, I did want to touch on politics a little bit. So I'm gonna go back to TSU for this one. When you're on a campus full of people that look like you, that go through the same things as you, typically, most of the time, you all will have similar political beliefs. At Texas State, a much more diverse campus, and it's a lot larger, which means you have a lot of random people coming on campus, which happens at TSU, but it's like kids that graduated coming back, or like kids that pretend to be in college.
She doesn't even go here.
But it's the same for Texas State, like these grown, old white men coming on campus. You don't even go here, expressing their opinions, you know, exercising their rights to use freedom of speech. So I'm just gonna give you guys an example. So walking to class, there was a white man standing just in an area on the quad. And he was like,
"If you get an abortion, you're a whore. God does not love you."
I was like, sir, can you calm down? Like, what is wrong with you? Oh my God, like stuff like that. And there's also really cool people that'll come on campus. Like there's one old white guy, and he just sits there and he has a sign, and it's like, talk to me about anything. And he lets you know that he's an ally if you're part of the LGBTQ plus community. So, you know, people like him are pretty cool, but I'm just letting y'all know, when you're going to these PWIs or bigger schools, prepare yourself for more people exercising their right to freedom of speech. And to add to that, I'm just going to make it clear here on my YouTube channel, I do not support Trump, but you can't yell at somebody for having that shirt on or anything like that. I mean, it's just like, okay, like just like they can't say anything to me for having a shirt on that says Black Lives Matter, you know what I'm saying? So if you're in a class and somebody walks in with a MAGA shirt on or a MAGA hat on, sits right next to you, it's just like, nice to meet you. I think I touched on everything for schools for both. Okay, and lastly, we are going to hit on the social part of being at an HBCU or being at a PWI.